before, which is $23 million. So take that gap, that's $7 or $8 million that they have to bridge. And Washington, I'm told, has gotten some calls about McLaurin. There's some interest league-wide. They have no interest in trading him still. So this is a classic standoff, which we're about to see. Standoff is a theme. You're going to hear it here with Trey Hendrickson as well. They have been in communication, at least. They have remained talking over the last few weeks about a deal. And I'm told the Bengals are willing to offer him some pretty high-end pass rush money. But that's sort of empty calories if the guarantees aren't what Trey Hendrickson wants. That's the issue. That's the sticking point. I talked to a source who said, look, you either have to pay him or trade him at this point. It's getting to that sort of tension right now. He's in the building. He wants to be on the field with his teammates. He's got to get something done. Then you got Micah Parsons.
Let's go.
So I checked with a source. I was told as far as potentially missing games if a trade doesn't happen, he's more focused on getting traded. That is his objective right now. I'm told there are at least 5 or 6 teams that would be interested if Dallas is even willing to do it, including possibly in his own division, by the way. But Dallas has shown no willingness to move him. I haven't talked to anybody in Dallas who expects him to be outside of the team this year.
That's a point. However, Jerry is out there in Oxnard. The cameras are all out there, and better believe he took the opportunity to take to the podium and speak. Take a listen.
I bought the Dallas Cowboys with a handshake. Took about 30 seconds, and I gave the number, shook hands. The details we worked out later. That's done, and those are done with eye contact and handshake. Just so you understand why the way that I communicate with people that I negotiate with. There is no question that in the case of a player contract, you have to have it in writing. All parties do. We have a contract in writing, yet we're still talking about renegotiating it. So much for that.
All right, so some context here. Jerry and Micah clearly had a conversation. There might have been a handshake. It was between those two. The agent was not involved. Jerry feels as though Micah Parsons then turned his back and came back to the table and said, no, that meant nothing. I want to actually bring my agent in here. There's a lot of ways we could take this. Harry Douglas, when you see that sound and Jerry talking to Jane Slater over at NFL Network, what is your response?
The first thing I do, watch my eyes, roll them. I roll my eyes. Jerry, this is not 36 years ago. This is not 1989. This is not the way you do business in 2025, especially when you're talking about a player and a contract and not involving his agent. I think it's utterly disrespectful that, number one, that you say you didn't know who David Mulugeta was, who is the most sought-out agent right now in the business, but you haven't even taken the time to reach out to the representation of Micah Parsons. That's disrespectful in itself. And for you to try to take advantage of a young man by sitting in a room with him in which the conversation started off as leadership, and then I guess it switched to contract talks, and to say, tell the world that you had a handshake with Micah Parsons, and that's the deal, and you sticking by it, lets me know what times you still are living in.
Damian Woody, you've been through a lot of different contract situations yourself, and you've seen several over the time covering the league. Your thoughts on how this one's going?
It's just a hot mess. It's a hot mess. And listen, my thing is, we got to understand who Jerry Jones is. Jerry Jones is a Hall of Fame marketer, okay? Jerry Jones has a flair for the theatrics, and that's what this is. It's all theatrics. Any type of publicity when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys is good publicity in Jerry Jones' eyes. Now, this whole contract, this handshake and all that stuff, you know damn well that man has an agent. That's what he gets paid for. And so this nonsense, like Harry said, this nonsense, we had I was negotiating, agreeing to deals on handshake deals. What does that have to do with Micah Parsons in 2025? Absolutely nothing. He has an agent. Go to his agent. If you had this deal, then go to his agent and see if that same deal holds up. If not, none of it matters. None of it matters.
Jeremy Fowler, it's 30 teams in the NFL with 30 owners. Then you've got the Packers who don't have a traditional owner. And then you got Jerry. This is a very unique Cowboys situation. Do you think it could trickle down, though, and actually affect some of the other players who are out there?
Yeah, the players are clearly frustrated. They're uniting with Micah Parsons, and, you put it on, you talk about how Jerry's the ultimate marketer, right? The players are like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl, man. Like, why are we marketing? This is a slam dunk. Age, injury, production. There is no blemish here, none. I mean, a little bit of an ankle injury last year. This is an easy decision. I think that's where players are grappling with this. You know, Dak Prescott, okay, do you make him the highest paid quarterback last year when he's probably not the best quarterback? That's a discussion. This guy, you could argue, is the very best at his position right now, outside of maybe Myles Garrett.
Well, no, he's ascending. Look at his age.
Yeah,
he's
so
the
that's
perfect guy to pick.
Right, that's the issue here. They're going on this 2 years in a row with CeeDee Lamb and Dak last year, and now Micah Parsons. It's a distraction. There's no other way
Let me
around
ask you, because I posed this to some of the other panelists this week. 1 to 10, and 10 is you're the most shocked, and 1 is whatever. Yeah, I saw that coming. We wake up tomorrow morning and Micah Parsons has been traded for 3 first-round picks to some AFC contender. Would you be shocked?
I would be an 8 on the shock scale.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I would be highly shocked.
Damien?
I would be shocked because Jerry Jones always pays his stars.
He does.
He like at the end of the day, with all the theatrics that goes on with the Cowboys and Jerry Jones,
Yep.
he ultimately pays his stars.
Found a way to get it done. It would not surprise me if we see Michael Parsons in his deal the Monday or the Tuesday of the Thursday night football game that they have versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
They just got it done, and Jerry gets to own the.
Oh, so we're not talking about the Super Bowl champions. We're not talking about them leading up to the Thursday night football
This
game.
is a great point.
We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys
They got
and
the Micah deal
Parsons
done.
and what led to them bridging the gap and that whole night. It would not surprise me.
But
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating take. All right, that's NFL. We got college football too, which means we've got the opportunity to bring in Heather Dinich, and we've got, of course, Harry Douglas here. It's called HD Squared. Heather, coming right out of the gates. What can you tell us about Lincoln Riley as USC starts their 2025 season?
Well, he knows because of where he is, he's under tremendous pressure, but the reality is he has a lengthy contract and a huge buyout, and he told me this summer that he feels like they are right on the doorstep, and they are. When you look back at last season, they lost 5 Big Ten games by 7 points or fewer. That was the most in the FBS. So he said eventually it's going to happen.
All right, Harry, what do you need to see from Lincoln Riley this season?
I'll say there are 4 games that stick out to me when you look at Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans. Oregon, Notre Dame, Illinois, Michigan. He must go 2-2 in those games to be able to be in a good position. This is a coach who last year went 7-6, underachieved, especially what he's getting paid. The year before, 8-5, underachieved.
With Caleb Williams.
With Caleb Williams. So in those 4 games, he must go 2-2 in my opinion.
Heather, who's next on your list, and who are you looking at in the Big Ten?
Penn State coach James Franklin. It feels like it's now or never for him. Sneaky Hembo told me that he lost 13 straight games against AP top 5 teams since 2018. And each of the last 5 have been by single digits. How painful is that? But James Franklin said this summer he believes this is the best personnel that he has had in both staff and on the field. And when you look at the staff, remember, he hired Jim Knowles, his defensive coordinator, from Ohio State. That's their toughest game on the road.
Harry, they're absolutely loaded. And you bring in Knowles, they are everybody's favorite team to say, hey, watch out for Penn State. Do you agree, though, this is going to come down to whether James Franklin can win the big one?
Well, if not now, then when, Peter? Especially when you look at the cupcake schedule, the only 2 big games that they have on their schedule is Oregon and Ohio State. Can you get it done, James Franklin? He has not been able to get it done in the past, but can 2025 be different for the Penn State Nittany Lions?
Heather, I am fascinated about what we're going to see in Chapel Hill this year. What are your early thoughts on the Bill Belichick debut season for the Tar Heels?
North Carolina is the biggest mystery in college football. Even Bill Belichick doesn't know what he has. His players haven't really put on the pads yet, particularly on the offensive and defensive lines. These guys have to go against each other and hit each other. This is an unheralded roster full of transfers, unproven playmakers.